Who are you?
I'm no one.
I was raised to do one thing. But I've got nothing to fight for.
Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started.
There are stories about what happened.
It's true. All of it. The dark side. A Jedi. They're real.
The Force. It's calling to you. Just let it in.
John Boyega, thank
Hello,
you so
everyone.
much for
You're
being
right.
here. How's life?
Life's all right.
Yeah?
It's a bit boring at the moment. Not much on, but life is good. It's very busy. We're a few days away from Star Wars, guys. It's gosh, I just want this movie to come out. I'm done keeping secrets.
What has it been, 3 years of secrets, 2 years of secrets for you?
Oh, it's been 2 years of secrets, and
How
I'm
many
ready.
friends did you have just sort of hitting you up to get some details on the movie and you couldn't tell them?
It's so funny. My friends back home in London are all cool with it, but my friends here out in the States, it's like, yo, you a Jedi or not, son? Like, what the hell you got with that saber, man? What the hell? But it feels good, you know, keeping the secrets and allowing the fans to experience it as if it was 1977. So.
What is the experience like for you? Now, we had seen you sort of see the trailer for the first time, right, and heard about that.
Yeah.
I watched the trailer. JJ was here the other day. I told him that every time I see the trailer, it gets me a little teary. It's just such an incredible trailer.
Yeah.
Talk about that for you, and then talk about seeing the movie for the first time, seeing
Yes.
yourself in it.
The trailers, it's a lot to take in. I mean, I was on set when JJ showed me the first teaser. You know, there has been an awakening. Have you felt it? That whole thing. And he showed me the trailer, and the first thing I did was just like, I'm not going to tell you anything about the trailer. I'll just show you this is the teaser we're going to release. At the time, it was like tomorrow. I looked at the iPad, and I was just like, oh, shit, he's black. And it was great to just see Finn be the first character to be introduced to the Star Wars universe, and then to see the other character, obviously Rey and the cute, crappy BB-8. I have an on and off relationship with that dude. He hasn't returned my calls.
BB-8's too big for you now. Yeah.
BB-8, it's all got to his head. I'm not sure about the guy. But it's been such a crazy experience, man. It's been amazing.
Now, outside of when you were cast and they called you and said, you're going to be in Star Wars, you're going to be one of the stars of the new Star Wars, did you have any moments on set, I asked JJ this as well, where it was just you looked out and you saw where you were, or you saw a Chewbacca costume and it was just kind of overwhelming that you were a part of this sort of great American myth at this point?
Yeah, I think one of the most magical moments for me, because I auditioned for this role for 7 months, and my second to last audition was a screen test in costume. And for some reason on the sides, I was talking to this guy called Furry Dude, and they were trying to keep him a secret. And JJ was just like, "Oh, we've got a special guest for you to read off in your test," and it was Chewbacca, and I was just like, Joey! And it was such a great experience to read with a full moving, talking Chewie. It was such a great experience, and that for me, I geeked out hard.
What does 7 months of auditions look like? How many is there actually where you're going in, you're reading for somebody? How many times did you read?
I know I read near enough over 8, 9 times. Wow. And then, it consists of meetings and then training at the same time. And I was working as well. So I would go in to shoot this TV show, and then I would go and audition. I literally felt like I was Batman, normal dude by day, the Dark Knight by night.
Right, they pull up in a limo and drive you into some cave that no one sees.
And I didn't tell my parents anything. So my dad and mom would just be like, this guy's getting picked up by blacked out cars and just going to this location.
They worried? They were like, maybe the acting thing's not working out. He's
maybe
picked up another bit.
maybe he's involved in a different industry. But it was a shock to go through 7 months of auditions, and it was worth it though. Mm-hmm. Guys, I booked it. How about that?
Now, if I was an actor and I landed Star Wars, I will be honest, it would go straight to my head. Straight to my head. So how did you keep yourself grounded? Did you get any sort of advice from anyone, from JJ, that like, look, there's going to be a lot of eyes on you. There's going to be a lot of people telling you that you could be the biggest star in the world, or you could be this. How do you keep focused and not try to think about that, or what's next, or what the next 10 years could look like just because you're in Star Wars right now?
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen, I believe. A human being has the potential to be egotistical and all those other things, but...
You're telling me.
Yeah, right. But so far, I think I've had peace in the fact that I'm not a child. I'm not being released into a world where I feel wide-eyed and it feels different. I'm not one of the Harry Potter kids. I've had a life, I've had friends, I have family who continue to support me, and that's something that definitely makes this ride easy. I was just talking to my agent, Femi, and I said to him, I'm actually genuinely happy right now. And that's something that is of benefit. The posters and the movie coming out and the recognition is great, but when you're genuinely happy during this process, it feels like Zen. It feels like Zen.
Is it a genuine happiness that comes from just working, like a consistent work, like not just shooting, but shooting, promoting, and then you have to go shoot the next movie? Like you just know that you're going to be working every day now. It's
a combination of things, but for me, the most precious thing to me is family. I'm a really big family and friends dude, and to know that you have good people around you it just makes you all the more happier.
Now, getting back to Star Wars, when you're shooting The Force Awakens, I've always wanted to know from someone what you're holding when you're doing a lightsaber fight. What are you holding on set?
A lightsaber.
You're holding a lightsaber. Yeah. It's not like, I mean, because they look partially digital, so it's like, what are you actually?
They're definitely enhanced, but it's as close as you're ever going to get. A real hilt. You do have the blade that lights up and ignites with the colors. When they clash, they do spark and light up. So JJ wasn't playing when he said physical effects, practical effects. It's no joke. There's no green screen kind of fake stuff going on. It was literally, saber in your hand, pause. Now the saber's on. The switch out thing, the old school kind of filmmaking.
John, what was that like?
It felt so good. They brought the saber to me in a black case. And honestly, have you ever felt glory? Who's ever won a fight against a bully? You feel like Russell Crowe in Gladiator. Are you entertained? You feel really, it's a glorious feeling to have that in your hand. And I didn't allow anyone else to touch it.
Really?
Yeah. These like young dudes who put the hilt and the technology together, wanting to clean the hilt and stuff. And I was like, give me the towel, I'll do it. It's just, to have it in your hand just feels like something else.
What was your biggest fear going into making this movie?
I just think that a lot of my fear existed during the auditions, because auditioning for a Star Wars movie is not easy. It's like the possibility that your life could possibly change is dangled in your face, but it's not yours yet. And so that it feels awkward. So you can't think about, oh, this is going to be life changing. You can't think about any of that. It has to be about the scenes. But because it was such a long time auditioning, when it gets to filming, I felt like more than ready. Like Finn, I burn and bleed Finn. Like I love him so much. And it's a character and it's a part of myself that I enjoyed exploring. So during filming, it was like playing every day.
Do you think part of the audition process was just kind of not necessarily breaking you down, but getting you comfortable? So at the point of shooting, you would be like that. Like maybe they had actually decided 3 months in that you were the part, but they were just like, let him audition for 4 more months. Let's let him get comfortable with this.
I mean, there were talks like that, and me and JJ, we had a previous friendship, so we already knew about the prospect of working with each other, that we would work well. But I mean, you know, it's such a long process. It's hard to like trace back exactly what they're thinking about. I wasn't trying to think about what Disney's thinking, what Lucasfilm's thinking. I was just trying to go into the scenes and nail it as much as I can.
So now you make The Force Awakens with JJ, and I don't want to get ahead of myself because no one's seen The Force Awakens except for you and like 20 other people, right? And I imagine it's pretty good. Come on, tell the truth.
I'm such a big Star Wars fan. You guys are gonna geek out. You guys are gonna geek out on a really deep level. You know what? It's only a few days. It's cool. Breathe. It's gonna be fun.
So now you finished Force Awakens, and there's new directors for the upcoming films, right?
Yeah.
Rian Johnson and Colin Trevorrow. Rian Johnson being from Brick and a number of other films, and Colin Trevorrow of Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Do you get nervous at all moving into doing this series with new directors, not having JJ there? Was there?
You know, I'm not nervous, but I do feel kind of like sad. Like, you know, it's like your real dad dropping you off with your stepdad. So I feel that. Get in there, son. That's what it feels like. And
did you have any like early petulant moments with the new director? Like, shut up, you're not my
no,
dad.
I do remember having like a brief conversation with Ryan and just going, JJ wouldn't do that. But it's a great experience. It's like the original films. George Lucas didn't do all of them, and it's great to have another director come and have a different take. That's pretty cool.
Were you nervous working with Harrison Ford?
No.
No? I've never met Harrison Ford. I would be nervous to meet Harrison Ford. He seems slightly like hilarious, but surly. He seems surly.
I feel like I've said this so many times, but I'm going to say it again. Harrison's my best friend. He wouldn't say it, but that's what he means. And we have a really cool relationship. I think one of the things that I'm most excited for everybody to see is the relationship between Finn and Han Solo. They're a dynamic duo that is quite funny. Finn has no respect for what he's done in the past, and in return, Han is just Han. He's rude. He's straight to the point, and it allows for choppy dialogue, and that's kind of how me and Harrison's relationship is.
Well, speaking of Han Solo, there's been some articles that they're in the search for the new Han Solo, right? For the new films, and they looked at. Apparently, they said every actor in town. Have you screen tested with anybody? Are you a part of that at all?
Well, Finn doesn't exist in Han Solo's young life, so definitely not. But I'm very curious to see how that will be like and who they cast. That's going to be very interesting. Very interesting, yeah.
But you're not a part of that.
No, not at all. I'm part of this, the main story, and that's about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you were cast for the film, was Daisy Ridley already cast? Did they sort of work together to figure out if the two of you would work well together?
Yes, we had chemistry reads with each other. So, I mean, I think Daisy was definitely cast before me. I came in late, and so we had chemistry reads and just tried to gauge whether or not we could work together on screen, and it really, really worked.
What worked about it?
I don't know. Daisy's from London. I'm from London. Two laid-back people. We had great conversation. She's a very lovable person, and she's beautiful and stunning and powerful as Rey. And it's so funny because Rey is one of my favorite characters in Force Awakens, and there's a natural, organic friendship that we have that really just translates onto the film in a very, very nice way.
Can you take me back to the first day of shooting The Force Awakens for yourself? Where, I mean, obviously you can't tell me what exactly you were shooting, but what that felt like. Did it feel like there was something you had to get over to get into it, or were you just ready to go?
No, I was ready to go. I was ready to go. Oh yes. I mean, it's exciting. I mean, JJ hasn't mixed these words. Like they had the desert in Abu Dhabi, but had a set that was built like a mini village, like a mini town, and Jakku was there. Like it wasn't green screen. Like Jakku was there. There were droids moving around, even in between takes, just moving, and it was like, it's like what Star Wars Land's gonna be like at Disney World. It's like the world exists, and for me, I was excited to just like be a part of it. And also, I just wanted JJ to get something on foot or something, with the footage before he tries to recast me or some stuff. You filmed, JJ. I'm in it. But it was fun, and all I did for the first day was walk in the desert, just walk. And so it was a lot. There was a lot of thinking during those scenes.
It's also a great way to get you comfortable with the crew and get you moving around. You're not doing your most dramatic scene on the first day or anything.
Daisy, however, was doing like hand-to-hand combat on the first day, running, jumping. I was just like, "You all right, love?" She was, she went straight into the deep end, but I got some chill time.
You mentioned Star Wars Land. I imagine Finn is going to be a presence at Star Wars Land in some capacity. Not like you're going to be there every day, but there's going to be a version of Finn. Imagine maybe like an It's a Small World kind of thing, like a little robotic.
Yeah, it's so cool. I just finished doing work with Star Tours at all the Disney parks, and Finn definitely introduces himself to the kids during the ride, and it's fun to be involved in this different mediums of this beautiful franchise. So It's nuts to think, part of a theme park ride, the action figure stuff is crazy.
I mean, it's got to be pretty nuts to think about the first Star Wars. Kids that are 5 years old, that movie came out in like 77, 78, right?
Yes.
And kids that are 5 years old now walk around and say the name Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
They shout it. They say, I want to play Star Wars. I'm going to be Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
There's the possibility that in 40 years, there'll be little kids walking around saying, I want to play Finn. I'm going to be Finn.
Well, think of it this way. You get to dress up as a stormtrooper. You get to have a lightsaber, a killer jacket. It all works out well.
It's mostly going to be about the killer jacket. The kids are going to be like, I want the jacket.
Yeah. Just get the jacket, get the saber. It all works out. Try and grow an afro.
So now with the shooting of the next two movies, do you have time to work on other projects at all? Or is your life like you're signed on, you're Star Wars for the next 10 years?
No, I just rapped on the movie called The Circle. I done it with Tom Hanks and Emma Watson, and it's by James Ponzolt, who done Spectacular Now, and it was a very intricate piece. And literally, as episode 7 wrapped, I had a few weeks break and went on to do The Circle, and the movie that I shot in 2013 called Imperial Dreams is also going to be coming out after Star Wars. So I'm blessed to have 2 projects that are nothing like Star Wars to come out, because I love different stories.
When do you start shooting episode 8?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're not even allowed to tell us when you start shooting it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're right, there is no episode 8 that we have heard of.
Yep, none.
Oh, I guess you can't. Okay, fine. Sorry, I realize why you might not be able to say that.
As I said, I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you wish you had like some sort of Men in Black thing that you could just sort of wipe all of our memories right now? I think we have some time for audience questions. Does anyone have any questions out here in the audience?
We're going to start with a question from an online viewer.
Okay.
So Cam would like to know, was it a challenge to inherit an American accent for the film?
Yes, of course. It is a challenge. I mean, you guys, the way you talk really hurts my throat. Come on. And an accent, an American accent in Star Wars is not like a natural American in present day life. It's larger than life, like all the characters. Han Solo had this really beautiful voice that sparked with charisma and bravado, and it affects the accent. And but it was fun once I get over all of that stuff. It felt natural, because I did try out for Finn in the British accent. It does not work. It really didn't work. So it was good to try out another accent.
Well, speaking of the words, not just the accent, but I think Harrison Ford had one time said to George Lucas very early on when they were doing the first Star Wars, you might be able to write this shit down, but there's no way that I can say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it difficult to say the language, to speak the language of Star Wars?
It is difficult. But, the script is so well written that when you just research the context, it's kind of like, researching Shakespeare. And when you know the meanings, it's easier for your brain to process the words. And so it naturally feels like you would say something like Moof Milker or Jakku or the hyperignition line and all that kind of stuff. You
Sorry,
guys know,
what?
you guys didn't understand a word of that, did you? Exactly.
Let's take another question from the audience.
Hey, man. I saw your video of you watching, the YouTube video of you watching the trailer, and you were just as hype as everybody else who saw the trailer for the first time, and I thought that was pretty awesome. I was wondering, what did you do when you were finally able to talk to your friends and family about it as a celebration? Did you pop bottles? Did you drink champagne out of Star Wars collectible cups? Was it awesome? Right. And my second question is, what's your favorite Star Wars movie besides maybe The Force Awakens?
Force Awakens. For your first question, once I was able to tell everybody, I just slept. Like 7 months of auditioning is not a joke. I mean, what it does mentally is so crazy. Once you book the part and you know it's yours, I just had to get some sleep because I knew that we have to start filming now. So we're gonna be on a crazy ride. And I didn't pop any bottles. None of that. I don't drink, so you know. But your second question was.
What's your favorite Star Wars movie outside of Force Awakens?
Woo! Empire Strikes Back. Baby. Come on, Empire Strikes Back.
Was there a part of you when you booked the audition that wanted to call any other actor that had been auditioning for 7 months and be like, I'm sorry, I got it. I feel bad, man.
No,
I know it was
no.
7 months, but I'm sorry.
No, not at all. I just couldn't care less about anybody else that was going up for this part because it was no.
No, right
true.
on.
I've sworn to be very real throughout my whole career. So back me up here.
Of course. I wouldn't call anybody.
Yeah. The thing is that we weren't exposed to who's going up for what, and really and truly, in a process like going up for a role that you know will change your life, you're not battling against anybody else but yourself, because that kind of opportunity, it breeds a natural sense of insecurity. You're like, oh, did I get it? Did I do this right? So you're not really thinking about, the other 7 actors going up for the part. What you're thinking about is, will I be able to be the best I can be to really nail it? It's kind of like being a Jedi. Like, are you going to go for the dark side, or are you going to be part of the light? And it's like, it's a balance that you're trying to figure out. So all the other actors, watch the film. Watch the film.
Next question. Last question.
Hi, John. You
Hi.
kind of touched on it a little bit, I feel like, but my question is, before you went in for the first audition, like, how did you really prepare yourself? Like, you seem to be very geeking out about it, just like the rest of us, and I don't know what I would do to get that first side, and how do you get into that mind space? How did you not die when you walked into the room?
Yeah,
and then what was your reaction when you found out that you booked it? How long did it take you to come out of that coma?
Yeah. It was so funny because I was in LA filming an indie film when they were doing a lot of auditions, and every single actor in town was going up for the part. And I remember my boy coming in, they came into my apartment, and he was just like, yo, man, I got an audition. I said, for what? He goes, like, man, for Star Wars. I was like, okay, I'll help you, I'll put you up on tape. And while he was reading, something just went to me, okay, where's my audition? And I just remember waiting for a long time, hearing that all these different people were going up for the part. And Femi, who's over there, that's my agent. Can we give him a round of applause, please? Because he's the guy that made everything happen. And he called me and he was just like, you all right, mate? I go, yeah, I'm all right. He goes, guess what? I go, what? Got an audition for Star Wars. I was like, all right, when, where, how? And I went into my first audition just looking to be as charming as possible, to have fun, and it was tough, but thankfully there's YouTube, and there's a video on YouTube. You should all watch it. It's of Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill's original audition. Before my last audition, my second to last audition wasn't as grounding as I wanted it to be, and I needed some inspiration. And I watched Harrison's audition, and I went in there was just kind of like, you know what? If I don't get it, I get it. I'm just gonna have fun, and I had an amazing time. And booking it, felt ridiculous. JJ emailed me and he was just like, where are you? I was just like, I'm at an art gallery. I wasn't at an art gallery. I just wanted to sound busy. You know what I mean? You know when you want to sound like, no, I've got a life. I'm not waiting to know if I'm part of the Star Wars universe. I'm not waiting. And he said, come to Mayfair. I think I had like £85 in my account. I spent it all on the taxi ride because it's so far. And I got there and he was just on his phone with Larry Kasdan next to him. And he asked me a few questions about the process, how I felt. And I thought this is my great moment to pitch to JJ whether or not I can get one last audition. And I was just like, JJ, JJ, let me just explain. JJ, I was like, John, you're the new star of Star Wars. Don't react. I looked at the sugar cubes and it all went blurry. I don't know, there's a dark, I just felt like just doing, oh my gosh. And then Larry Kasdan was just like, this is gonna change your life. And it was an experience. And I walked and I saw Femi in his office and I had a good little cry. It was a big cry, both eyes, yeah. A big cry and I was just so happy.
What about your parents when you told them?
My dad assumed that he knew, like for the whole time that I was, I knew that you was going up for something, John. My dad's Nigerian, by the way. My dad is.
Everyone just assumed that you gave him an accent.
No. My dad's Nigerian, so you have to do that when you're talking of him, unless he won't be proud. But Dad was just like, I am so proud of you. You are in Star. Oh my gosh, mind you, he didn't even know what Star Wars was. He just watched all 6 films. Like, Dad, come on. And my mum is very sweet, and mum was just kind of like, you know what? Does this mean that you're gonna be harmed? Does this mean that you're gonna fight? And I'm like, Mum, it's Star Wars. This is cool. And she goes, okay. She's
Well,
cool.
John, congratulations.
Thank
Unbelievable. You. I can speak for all of us when I say we're going to be there December 18th, or if we didn't get tickets yet, we're going to see the movie. Congratulations, John. John Boyega, everybody.
Thank you.